Everybody, how are you? This is Hondo Carpenter, your Las Vegas Raiders beat writer on SI and the host of the Las Vegas Raiders Insider Podcast. It's great to be with you today. Have a ton, literally a ton of stuff to talk about. It's our last of the position group breakdown. Um, I think on Tuesday, I'm going to offer my initial projection of the 53-man roster. I think. Um, that's my goal. I hope to get there. Not saying I will. It'll come sometime next week for sure, but I think it's going to come on Tuesday. Um, I think when you're looking at this roster, there are a lot of places where a trade makes sense in a couple of certain situations. The cornerback room looks very, very thin. Okay. That's just factual. There are certainly reasons to be hopeful, but it certainly is also extremely very thin. Last year, the Raiders kept 6 corners on the roster. I could see that happening. I could maybe, although I'm not predicting it, see it stretch to 7 just because they are so thin. But I think ideally they would love to keep it at 6. So let's start. The best corner on the team is Jacorian Bennett. His first year, um, he would disagree with me. That's fine. But I totally believe he just because he started off like gangbusters and then just struggled with confidence. Again, he would disagree with me on that, and I think it's important to put that out there, but to defend him. But he was the guy I talked about all last offseason, and boy, did he respond. He played so well. Injury ended his season early, and this is a money year for him. This is a massive year for him. He can set himself up with big time generational money if he stays healthy for the entire season and plays the way he played last year. He's a solid player. He is extremely fast, very, very aggressive. And I talked about early in his career, he's so aggressive and not afraid to hit people, which is not normal when you're a corner, that he could get baited up and move up, and then guys throw over him. Uh, and he really improved that last year a lot. And he's a very good um, press corner. He's tailor made for what Patrick Graham wants to do, literally tailor made. And he is such an exceptional player. And what a great kid. What a great kid. Uh, I just, I just genuinely love JB. I love the way um, he really carries his emotions. He's not emotional. I'm not implying that. Obviously, he has emotions, but you can tell when he's frustrated. You can tell when he's down, and he there's nothing fake about JB. If you don't like JB, you don't like him, the real person. It's not because you don't like the fake one. I know a lot of fans who like people, or a lot of people that, I know a lot of celebrities, and I know people who like celebrities, and I think, wow, if you knew them, you wouldn't. Um, I'll tell you real quickly, just to put that in context. I introduced Shannon one time to somebody she really, really likes, and she walked in and she's like, I wish I wouldn't have met him. That's not how it is with JB. Great kid. And I love the fact he is a fighter. He's a scrapper. Um, he was very upset with his rookie year, and he should have been. It was not a good year. And the year he had last year was a reflection of his hard work. If JB fails out of this league, it's not going to be because of his lack of effort. And he puts it in there and he scraps and he fights. I think he has a shot of really taking the next step from a young player with a lot of promise to becoming a solid veteran and setting himself up to make a lot of money. He has a big year this year, then comes into year 4 and backs it up. He's gonna back a Brinks truck up to Spytek's office, but he's got a really good opportunity. Next guy that I think has a very solid shot, um, I think Jakorian's a lock. I think this guy is very close to a lock. I'm not saying I think he's as close to a lock as you can get. I think if somebody could beat him, I don't expect anyone to, is Decamerion Robinson, Decam. Richardson. I love Decam. Um, I love a lot of things about his game. I like his length. I like his vision. I like he's a really has a good twitch, just and he reacts. Some guys are more fluid. He's uh you've heard me use the saying before, that guy can stop on a dime and give you 9 cents change. That's him. He can be going one direction, just stop. I remember last year, I think it was at training camp, but if it wasn't, I apologize. But there was a practice I was watching, and I'm watching the ball and the play go. The balls, and all of a sudden, I looked and I'm like, where did he come from? Because he was over on the other side of the field, but he just flipped his hips, and within a half a second, he's in the middle of the play. He's still a young pup. He's only in his second year. But I thought he had a really good for a rookie year. Where he was drafted, he had a good first year. And I'm looking forward to really watching him put that on display this year. It's going to be interesting to watch that go on to play. Next is Sam Webb. This is another guy that I think he's going to make this roster. He's a young kid who has just developed. Is he Jacorin? No. Is he Decam? No. But he's a guy that makes plays when he gets opportunities, and he's getting better all the time. This is something about Sam Webb I really like. There is an old adage in the game of football, and you've probably heard players say, I got 1% better today. And you're wondering, what are they talking about? It just says every day pledge that you're going to get 1% better. And Sam Webb is the kind of guy who, he struggled, but he just, sometimes you hear me saying, he showed something. He's a guy that showed something, so he stuck around. And then he parlayed it by getting better, getting better, getting better, not repeating mistakes, getting better, getting better. This is a big year for him. This is a monster offseason and training camp for him. He's a guy that I think will make the roster, but I don't think he is a lock at all. At all. I think he's going to have some guys push him. I don't think DCAM is a lock, but I think he's close. I think Sam Webb is a guy that has the edge to make the roster, but I would, if it was DCAM or Sam getting beat out, I would not be surprised if it happened to Sam. I would be with DCAM, and that's not a slam on Sam. And it's just I like his game. I think he's going to make the roster. If I had to make my projection of the 53 man today, I would make it projected with him. I like him. And he's, when you hear me talk about guys throughout this series where we're talking about position breakdowns, and I talk about a little something, that Sam Webb, see Sam Webb. The next guy I want to talk to you about is fascinating to me. Of all of the free agent signings, he may be the most fascinating, and it's Eric Stokes. I spent a lot of time talking about this kid, and have had guests on to talk about him. But he spent 4 seasons with Green Bay, from 201 to 2021 to 24, after being drafted in the first round. So this was a first round talent. And his rookie year was sensational. He was phenomenal. Then he got injured, and then it was a struggle to get back. Then he got back and had not been himself. All right. Um, he's played in 45 games, 32 starts, and 2021 was his best year, his rookie year. And the guy looked like a world beating, dominant corner force. He looked the part. And then again, um, the injury is what hurt him. Now, it was a slow recovery. And then by the time it happened, they had brought people in, you know, and it was just not a fit at the end. So the Raiders really did not overextend themselves to get this guy. This is a low risk, super high reward guy. They believe he is recovered. I think he believes he's 100% recovered, and he's going to play like he played his rookie year. If that is the case, John Spytek stole him. And if he isn't, and they got to let him go, it's no harm, no foul, and it was a great signing. This is where Spytek's going to really make a feast. This is where John Spytek is a football savant, identifying guys. Right, where's this guy when he came out? This is why all of the scouting they do that fans don't even know about, where you're constantly scouting every team. Okay, here's a guy over here who's in his fourth year with Carolina. Boy, we really liked him coming out. Here was our scouting report. Hasn't really done well. I'm not going to name a player. I'm not going to name a player, but I was sitting in a office one time of a general manager and a head coach in the NFL, and they were talking about a player that they loved. And I said to this coach, "How do you know that player?" He goes, "Well, I used to coach him." I said, "Great." And he goes, was really making great. There was an injury. He was making great progress, got injured, and then this coach left to go be a head coach. And he said, and I don't think he's had good coaching since I left. And he goes, I really want to get that guy here in free agency. We'll get him for a song and a dance, but he's going to be a great player. Ended up going to that team and was a great player. That happens a lot. So you're not only scouting players on a team, you're scouting the coaching staff. Okay, team A does not have good running backs coaching, has a decent OC, not a good running backs coach. So you watch, and if there's a player that you saw a lot of talent on, did they not develop them? I told you how Green Bay believed that the Raiders' strength and conditioning was not good. So they jumped at Josh Jacobs, who had been injured a lot. That's why the Raiders essentially didn't go any higher and re-sign him. And they felt that way with Nate Hobbs, that he had been a sufferer from the strength and conditioning. I told you, I'm not in there. I don't work with them. I have no opinion on them. But I'm just telling you what people around the league think. Some people said, man, what's Hondo's beef with the strength and conditioning people? I have no beef. Great guys. I'm just telling you what perception is around the league. And so Stokes is a guy that really this was a steal by Spytek. Literally minimal to zero risk, massive upside. This guy has a lot. And if you go put the film on his rookie year, it is really impressive film. Since then, no, but we know what injuries do for people. This is a guy I'm watching tight. I want to watch him. I want to watch him and his development and how he handles the early. I'm looking forward to getting a chance to talk to him. It's going to be really good. Next, I want to talk about another guy. This guy is a lock to make the roster. I think there's only really two locks, Jacorian and Darian Porter. I think DeCam's as close to a lock as you can get. And I think Webb and Stokes, while not as close to a lock as you can get, are very solid. And I'd be surprised if either one gets beat out. And if they only keep 6 corners, there's your 5. But this kid is a lock, the corner, a rookie, Darian Porter, third rounder out of Iowa State. I loved this pick. Great positional value, had a second round grade. This guy can play corner. Now, I told you after the draft, and I'm going to tell you right now, he thrives in zone coverage because that's what Iowa State played. So he has very little press, but he has all of the skill set to play press. This is where the Raiders were really smart in their scouting. They looked at this guy, they look at his size, look at his intangibles, look at everything else. They're like, okay, listen, he's really good in zone. And we think he'd be better in press. Remember when Delmar DJ Glaze, the mule? Remember I told you about him? Same, kind of the same situation. He had always been a lineman, but this guy has been moved around a little bit. But he was a 6-year senior with absolutely elite traits. If you just put in and look at his skill set, he is an elite corner. He's got all of the God-given skills to be that. It's impossible. You just go watch the film. It's impossible not to love Darian Porter. Every single thing about him. In fact, people in the building have told me they've been even more. They're thought highly of him already, enough for the team to pick him, but have been already even more impressed. He has total athleticism, an absolute burst of speed. And again, they think he's going to be better at man than he was at press. Iowa State plays press. And um, he's got just I'm going to use I'm fighting for the right word. He has awesome reactionary speed. I had a guy works for another team, not the Raiders, who after the draft I was asking him, some questions about Porter, and he sent me a email with some film, and he just said, "Watch how quick he gets out of the back pedal and reacts and moves in and makes a play on the ball." And he made this play, and I think it was against the Hawkeyes. He's a Cyclone, but if I'm wrong there, I apologize. But I think it was Iowa, and he's back, and then boom, he's just up in the face, and the quarterback starts his throwing motion. He comes out of the back pedal, and then by the time the ball gets there, Porter meets it and breaks. It was just, and I'm like, wowza. And this guy said to me, he's going to be better in press than he was in zone. I thought that was a really good one. He uses his length um, down the field in a really good way, but he absolutely has to get stronger. When you're a zone guy, you don't have to be the strongest guy in the world. I mean, all these guys are strong. That sounds so stupid because you're talking about professional football players. But wide receivers now are a lot stronger than they used to be. And he's got to get stronger in press. And so that is something that when I get a chance to talk to Pete next, I'm going to, ask him about, have you seen in Darian Porter some strength improvement? And what are you seeing out of that end of him? But Darian Porter, peach of a kid, hard worker, but man, he has elite skills. Now, because he's going from a press corner from a zone corner to a press corner, there's going to be a learning curve here. But I'm going to tell you right now, I would not be shocked if he at some point this year moves into the starting lineup. That's how much I love this kid's skill set. And he's a third rounder. So for me to feel that way about a third rounder, to think that guy's gonna start at some point in year 1, that tells you how special. And I'll tell you this, had he played press in college, I think he would again, remember I told you second round grade. I think he could have been a first round graded guy. Um, I love Darian Porter, and I am a big Darian Porter guy. This was a great draft pick. This was not a good one. This was a great draft pick. I think he has a chance to be special. Now, the next two guys I'm going to talk about, I really believe are going to compete with one another for that sixth corner spot. I think they're very close for different reasons. The first guy I'll talk about is a guy I think that has the edge, and that's Darnay Holmes, a kid in his sixth year. Originally came into the NFL as a fourth round pick with the New York G-Men. So he was there with PG. Played in 5 games with 11 starts over his first 4 seasons. Career includes 107 tackles, 81 solos. Now, uh, he's got 4 interceptions, 18 passes defended, 3 tackles for loss, 2 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery. He's a native of Pasadena, California. Um, played at UCLA. This is a kid that, for whatever reason, just even though he has skills, hasn't been able to find someplace and settle down. Now, he's older, and that hurts him. It hurts him. And so while I say I think he's got a better shot, when I tell you who the next guy is, I think that he's in a battle with, I think it just shows you why, if the right trade came around here for the Raiders, I could totally see a trade. If they could go get a young guy with huge upside that's already proven, I think they would jump at it. Or if they could get a cheap enough 1-year patch guy, I think they would look at that, maybe depending on how some of these young guys go. But Darnay is a guy, he's got the skills. And clearly PG believes in him. And that's all I need to know. And if they had to do the roster today, I say, okay, yeah, he would probably make it. But even as I'm talking, I'm not 100% convinced. I mean, I'm 51-49 over the next guy we're going to talk about. The next guy we're going to talk about is Mello Dotson, a UDFA from Kansas. Huge aggressive mindset, shines in the run game, quick triggered, downhill to support the run. This kid plays with a side of nasty. You watch him, and he likes to hit like a linebacker. He shows a willingness to take on blocks, engage people physically. His long arms allow him to disrupt, and he can get off blocks quick. So let me tell you a little bit about him. All but one team I talked to had a draftable grade on him. All but one had a draftable grade on him. So the Raiders were able to give him his UDFA. That's a steal. He is one guy told me he's a total PG type player. Talking about what Patrick Graham likes in corners. Another one said, turn on the film, watch how quick he flips his hips. Tremendous. Another guy said, a complete lack of ideal strength. Has to get stronger. If he's going to play, he's got to get stronger. Thought that was really fascinating. But they love him. He is willing. That's what another guy said. Absolutely willing. Another guy talked about, long arms, and, one person called him a disruptor. I guess as I sit here today, it's hard to pick a UDFA over a 6-year veteran, but I don't even know that it's 41-59 with him and Holmes. It may be 50-50. And I know he's a UDFA. I don't know because other teams had draftable grades on him. If he gets into those preseason games and does some stuff, he may be hard to hide on the practice squad. And then if you're the Raiders, if you got 50-50, what did I tell you the other day? Ties go to younger player. And a UDFA contract, that's nothing on your salary cap. Whereas Holmes, you're paying, you know, a veteran salary. But I really like Mello Dotson. Again, a UDFA out of Kansas. He's just aggressive. He's like I told you, one scout said he is a consummate PG guy. Just plays with that edge. Uh, Patrick Graham is such a nice person that when you see the edge in him, you're like, wow. That's why I talked about the other day. I wish um, uh, people. I was on a radio interview and somebody asked me about PG and how big of a fan I've been, and it was another city, and I mentioned if your team needed a coach today, I would go hire him. I just keep your eye on Mello. I'm going to, and you should as well. Next guy I want to talk to you about is interesting. If he makes the team, well, let's just talk about him. He was a fifth round pick in 23 by Baltimore. Now, Baltimore is a super deep team with a ton of talent. So it's hard for anybody to make their team. But the fact that they believed in him is a very big deal. I'm talking about Caillou Kelly. This is a kid, after being with uh, the Ravens, spent some time with the Seahawks, Green Bay, and Washington Commanders. So that tells you how many different teams all believed in him. They all thought, oh, there could be something there. He's appeared in 8 games, recorded 5 tackles, 1 tackle for a loss, and he happens to be a native of Las Vegas. Now, I don't think he's going to make the 53. I do think he's got a great shot at making the practice squad. I do believe that for sure. But I don't think he's going to make the 53. But the fact that all these teams have given him a shot tells you there's talent there. And so for him, in these off-season OTAs and minicamp and in training camp, he absolutely has to flash enough to these coaches that they understand, that they grasp, that they get, we should keep him around because it's probably going to be his last chance. So to get that chance at your hometown team, he's a Vegas native. That's huge. That's huge. It's Caillou Kelly. Again, I don't think he's making the 53, but a shot at the practice. Next guy, I don't think he's got a shot at the 53. I think he has a shot at the practice. But Greedy Vance, a UDFA out of USC, is there a better name for a defensive back than Greedy? I love that name. That is such a great name. Greedy Vance. Now, nobody I talked to had a draftable grade on him. Um, and not all of them even had a UDFA grade on him. But he's talented, but he's gotta develop. There's a lot there to develop. I I think he has a shot at the practice squad. I think Caillou is has a great shot at the practice squad. I think Greedy is gonna be tough. Gonna have to earn it. Gonna have to earn it. Like everybody else. But again, nobody had a draftable grade on him. And but he really there is enough there physically to say maybe, but now he's gonna have to flash. Okay, you're worth a coveted spot on the practice squad. You're worth a coveted spot on the practice squad to get a chance to develop. The next guy, uh, I like him a lot. He's also a UDFA out of USC, but this is John Humphrey. He is far from peaking at his skill set. Has all the athletic tools and length to be an impact upper tier power 5 starter in a mid to high level round NFL draft pick. He's got all of that. This kid has a major upside. He was a legit player at a legit school. Um, he was absolute every team I talked to, he was on their radar going into the 2024 season, but didn't have a great 24 season and played himself off the radar. Nobody had a draftable grade, but all said after 23, they had a draftable grade on him, but just didn't play well in 24. So he played himself off the radar. So he's a guy, I'll be surprised if he doesn't make the practice squad. I'll be surprised. I would think him and Caillou have the best shot. Does it mean they wouldn't carry 3? Probably not, though. But they might carry 3 on the practice squad, but I think they'll carry 2. If I had to guess today, I think Humphrey and Caillou have the edge there. If Mello doesn't make it, I think he beats one of them out. That's why I think they maybe could keep 3. And if Darnay doesn't make it, I think that they would probably just let Darnay go and obviously not put him on the roster, considering he's a 6-year guy as a practice squad guy. So again, there's a lot of youth, starting with your best one, Jakorian. Stokes isn't young, played great as a first-year guy, as a rookie, but he's not young, has struggled being healthy, and maybe even finding his confidence. Darnay is a guy that he's been around, hasn't done anything. So we know what Jakorian did, but got injured. And so this is to me the weakest position as far as a surety of greatness. And there's not one guy here that's a thumbprint guy. And so I think this is the weakest point on the field. But with youth and talent, yeah, I love JB. I love Darian Porter. I really like DCAM and Sam Webb. I really like Dotson. I like Eric Stokes. But Darnay, you like him because PG does. So again, there's a lot of questions here. Goes back to something I'm going to talk about tomorrow on the podcast. Somebody sent me an email about if I was going to make a draft, a trade, who would I trade for? And you're going to want to tune in for that tomorrow. There's one person that I think if you're the Raiders, you pick up the phone right now and say, what do I got to do to make a deal happen? And you know, you make that deal. And but that being said, I really I think there's a lot of things to be encouraged about with corners, but I think there is more reason to be nervous about corners, or skeptical is probably, I wouldn't be nervous at all, but skeptical for sure. And I think this is the weakest part of the field. Now, I think it helps that it's the weakest part of the team, but you got a lot of strong men of character, good, hardworking men. So you know you're going to get the effort. You know they're going to get the coaching. But if someone said to me today, all right, you have to tell me what is the weakest position group on the Raiders, I don't know who wouldn't say corner. I I don't know who wouldn't. And that's just the fact of the reality. A lot of upside here. Every one of those players I talked to you about today have a shot, and they've got not just a shot, they have an opportunity because there's not a lot. I mean, there's only 2 guys here I think are a lot. There are several I think are going to make it, a couple I think could, and a couple headed to the practice squad, and one I think has a battle for the practice squad. A lot of wide range of talent here, but in a position that carries 6 guys and there's only 2 that you think are a lock, this is an opportunity now. I'm gonna share with you a great story about opportunity because I think it fits here, and I hope it's the way you approach your life. It's the way I do. 2 men get on a boat early in the or excuse me, in the late 1800s to go to a foreign country. And I'm told this is a true story by the person who I heard tell the story, but I don't know it. So to be true, I'm just told it was. And the first guy, they go to this foreign country. They're both shoe salesmen. The first guy wires back to America and said, don't send the shoes. Get all my money back. I'm coming home. Nobody here wears shoes. The second guy wires back, sell my home, sell everything I own, tell my wife the reason is nobody here wears shoes. Buy and send me all the shoes you can. I'm going to sell shoes everywhere. One saw opportunity, one saw no chance and quit. There are 10 men that I just read to you currently on the roster at corner. 10. 10. Somebody's going to look at it and say, oh, this is the NFL. It's too hard and quit. But every one of them have a shot to say, ooh, this is not a deep place. I can play here. And whoever goes and hits that attitude and has a great offseason has a shot at making this roster. To me, it's like a trucker at night, man. They're going to go wide open. Somebody's going to go wide open and make this team. Somebody's going to make this team, and I'm going to be like, yeah, I'm told you. They're since we're in the middle of horse racing season, they went from the back of the pack to the front of the line because they saw, hey, sell my house and buy me some more shoes. Nobody here wears shoes. Who's it going to be? I don't know. Tell me who you think. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Hey, quick note. Obviously, tomorrow's Sunday and Monday is Memorial Day. It's a great time to relax, enjoy family, eat some hot dogs, some hamburgers. We're doing some, little bit of a family trip, and Dexter's going to get to go see some family. We're going to go to a carnival in a place where it's 45 degrees. I'm fine with that. I love the cold weather. I'm going to get a little bit of a relief. But what I would challenge you is this. There's a difference between Memorial Day and Veterans Day and 4th of July and all of that. And this is a day we honor the men and women who've given their life for America, whether it's as our war fighters, police officers, firefighters, whatever it may be. There's a difference. And so if you're a parent, take your kid to a local parade. I'm sure you'll have a parade near you. We find a parade every year, always have to take our kids, and we'll be taking Dexter to a parade. Then we'll be taking him to a cemetery just to put some flowers down at veterans um, graves. But please just take time, and maybe there isn't a parade near you. If you have kids in your life, explain to them, hey, we're free in America because of these courageous men and women. And to all of you whose family has given up someone for our country, God bless you. May God richly bless your family for the gift of our country. Greater love has nobody than to give up their life for somebody else. The ultimate sacrifice. Thanks to all of you. Have a great weekend. See you back here tomorrow. God bless you, everyone.